Hi, babe.
Hey, hi, how are you? Good morning.
You busy?
Not for you, how could I assist?
Okay, we have a job for you.
Job? What kind of job is it?
Morning, the boss. If I small work for you, I'll 5,000. What you do? Pick up some girls, drop them and remember the boss so we making a quick 5,000.
Girls, boss. What is this about?
Listen to me now. It's not a small work. You reach in Toko, pick up some girls, drop them and Rima. 5,000.
That sounding like human trafficking. Are you trying to set me up or what? Partner, you know the penalty for human trafficking? Look, I gone now. Excuse me, please.
Do you know that human trafficking is considered a serious crime in Trinidad and Tobago and is punishable by law under the Trafficking in Persons Act Chapter 1210 or the TIPS Act? The penalties for recruiting, receiving, transporting, or housing a victim of human trafficking are a minimum of 15 years for trafficking adults and a fine of $500,000, a minimum of 20 years for trafficking children and a fine of $1 million, a fine of $350,000 and imprisonment for 12 years for transporting a person within or across TT borders for the purpose of exploiting that person for prostitution, a fine of $400,000 and imprisonment for 15 years for persons who receive a financial or other benefit from tips, a fine of $500,000 and imprisonment for 20 years for any person who receives a financial or other benefits from trafficking children, an additional 15 years imprisonment for any trafficker who uses or threatens to use a dangerous weapon on a victim, or where the victim suffers serious bodily harm, or the victim contracts a life-threatening illness or is sexually assaulted, or if the trafficker abuses his power as someone entrusted with the care or supervision of a child victim. Imprisonment for 25 years for any member of the Defense or Protective Services or any official or public officer having the powers of arrest who commits an offense. Court can order forfeiture of convicted traffickers' property. A company can be fined $5 million for engaging in tips.
We are the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
The interlinkages between firearms and other types of crime are largely unexplored, and this is why the Global Firearms Program has decided to really explore these interlinkages through thematic issue papers. We started looking into that and how we could explore that. And basically what we will do at this side event where we will launch the paper is to present some of the conclusions that we have found and some of the main ideas that really jump out from the research and from looking at these interlinkages. One of them is that drugs trafficking really fuels a demand for firearms. Firearms have a very long life cycle and creates many opportunities for.
This Sunday on episode 12 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
There's an old saying, curiosity kills the cat. In this case, Marsha did not lose her life, but she was trafficked.
What was happening is that the police was doing some raids and I witnessed some people hiding some stuff. They had drugs and guns and money.
This Sunday on Eye on Dependency, you will hear the story of a young woman who almost got away with attempting to import cocaine into the United Kingdom. What's even more mind-blowing about this story is who and where she got the drugs from just before she boarded the aircraft. Even more unbelievable, it's Marsha'S arrest, and it's not what you think. So, are you thinking about trafficking to make a quick buck? Okay then, but first, listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the Eye on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. Eye on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
The relationship between substance use disorders and human trafficking is often cyclical. Traffickers may focus on recruit individuals with a history of existing substance use disorder. This allows traffickers to induce or exploit substance use, using it as a reward or punishment to maintain control. Successfully prosecuted cases have proven that the role of substance use disorder in human trafficking is powerful and pervasive. Addiction can increase a person's vulnerability to being trafficked, can be initiated and manipulated by the trafficker as a means of coercion and control, and can be used by the victim. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to Dependency, right here on I-95.5 FM, live on the Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel. And we are happy to be here with you again this morning to share some more education. Good morning, Natasha.
Good morning, Garth. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to the live. Well, I hope that those of you tuned in on Facebook and YouTube, please like, share, comment to help keep us on the air and keep the program going.
No one wants to get a phone call that their son or daughter, while speaking to them from a prison cell or an institution in any part of the world. That is not a phone call any parent wants to get.
Nope.
So today we're going to focus on that, and you're going to hear of this young lady. But the thing is, this was a unique case that we came upon, and we
unique but common in both ways.
And we ask that you, as the holidays approach, we cannot do anything. We'll be asking for a perfect world if we were to stop drug, human trafficking, and everything else that's an evil to mankind. Then we'll be in utopia, but it's not possible. So what do? This is what we're doing here on behalf of the Ministry of National Security Counter-Trafficking Unit, which is education and prevention. Today, we bring a lesson to you once again of being caught in a trap and what do you do to get out. We also want you to identify you, the people, because we want to educate you on the act, the means, the purpose of human trafficking, and continue to keep that on your front burner and continue to keep the work of the counter-trafficking unit on the front burner as well, because there's a strong mandate this year and we have to achieve that. And also, a part of this program will be dedicated to, as she was fondly called, First Lady, but the passing of WPC Thomas. And she was an officer at the agent of the counter-trafficking unit. We lost her. One of the most beautiful human beings you ever hope to meet. And we'll be having a short tribute to her and let you know where the funeral is, which will be Pentecostal Cathedral, 20 to 31 Duke Street, Port of Spain, 10 a.m. And hence to the Winston Cemetery, George Cabral Street, Port of Spain. And the repast will be at the Belmont Community Center. And this is on behalf of Senaka Thomas, WPC, deceased, wonderful human being. Wonderful, wonderful human being. And may her soul rest in peace.
Indeed.
So,
and we will share a little more, the details of the funeral and stuff after we get through our story, Marsha'S story this morning, which, as Garth mentioned, is one that we can all learn from. I know we weren't supposed to reveal this, but this is from the archives. Let's just put it that way.
And we'll show you how we tie it in this morning, because something happened. We had a breaking news. Well, for us, it was breaking news, and we shared that with you because it's connected to our national security. And people, we have to do our part. And when we share with you what we have to share with you, you will not believe that there is no justification for just blaming the government alone for what it is happening in these institutions. And this morning will be immigration, and then our security at our airports. People are vulnerable, and we cannot stop people from selling or pushing these products, but what we can do is prevent the fallout, take care of the fallout, and put things in place for that. This is what we're doing here. you'll be approached to traffic. You think about it after you listen to Marsha here this morning, what she went through, her advice, and also during the breaks you have to learn. You have things to learn there from too. All right. So without further ado, please let's go to a break and join us for this journey that Marsha took from Trinidad to the United Kingdom to try to get a substance across there so that other people's children can be poisoned. There's always a price to pay for that. You don't believe how she paid her price. Get your child close to the radio, please. I'm begging you. Because up to last month, we got 2 calls of people who don't know where their daughters were until they got the phone call. You don't want that to happen to you. So let's go to a break. And when we return, another lesson for you on our Dependency.
Cappy, talk to you now, boy. About a small work for you to do. Make a quick 10 G's. What you gonna do for me?
10 G's? Where's that how I do there, boy?
What you doing? Taking your boat, run up the islands, pick up some people and then bring them back here for me. That's all you have to do.
That sounds like human trafficking, boy. That's a serious crime. I can't make that.
Trafficking in human beings is a serious violation of a person's human rights. It violates a person's right to freedom of movement, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and freedom of identity. It is a heinous crime which affects local, regional, and international peace and security. A victim of human trafficking is subjected to many types of abuse. The crime destroys a person's dignity and self-worth. Victims often feel hopeless, are suicidal, and are stigmatized in their communities. Child victims are deprived of their rights to education, play, and social interactions. They're essentially robbed of their childhood, and that can never be regained once those years have passed. If we do little or nothing to fight against human trafficking in our country, we can face economic sanctions from international agencies and partners. Our country will be losing money. Doing little or nothing to fight against human trafficking will tarnish our country's international image and, most of all, the value we place on human life. Human trafficking is no respecter of persons. Anyone can be a victim. So let us all strive to safeguard human life and dignity in Trinidad and Tobago.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Hello.
Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please?
This is Miss Sheila.
Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line. Mommy, it's Sherry.
Oh God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going?
Mommy, I called in to tell you I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail.
Oh God, Sherry, what? What you do? How you reach there? Oh God, how we gonna do?
Oh God, Mommy, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It'll be alright. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM. Don't miss.
Yes, girl. I'm online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I'm putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
This Sunday on episode 12 of Eye on Dependency, where every life is a biography.
There is an old saying, curiosity kills the cat. In this case, Marsha did not lose her life, but she was trafficked.
What was happening is that the police was doing some raids, and I witnessed some people hiding some stuff. They had drugs and guns and money.
This Sunday on on Dependency, you will hear the story of a young woman who almost got away with attempting to import cocaine into the United Kingdom. What's even more mind-blowing about this story is who and where she got the drugs from just before she boarded the aircraft. Even more unbelievable, it's Marsha'S arrest, and it's not what you think. So, are you thinking about trafficking to make a quick buck? Okay then, but first, listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
All right, so let's go straight to part 1 of Marsha'S story. This is where she introduces herself to you and explains how she ended up in the place where she was interviewed. This is the story from the beginning.
Hello, my name is Marsha, and you're listening to on Dependency with Gart and Natasha. Don't you dare traffic drugs. It's not worth it.
Hundreds of women and men are caught every year trying to smuggle drugs into the United Kingdom, whether in their bodies or in their luggage. The chances of escaping detection are slim.
We share an interview with Marsha, a young woman from Trinidad who is serving a 6-year sentence for trafficking cocaine.
Her Majesty's Prison Drake Hall, a facility for women located in the West Midlands, 150 miles north of London. The facility, which if not for the barbed wire and 12-foot walls, looks like a gated community. The women here live in apartment-like structures and are allowed to walk about freely, if not at work or in class.
Our interviewee, Marsha, is in her early 30s and comes across as a mature, stable, and responsible woman. But the story begins when Marsha inadvertently comes across a stash of guns, drugs, and money near her home. This happened in September 2011, when parts of Trinidad were under a state of emergency.
What was happening is that the police was doing some raids, and I witnessed some people hiding some stuff. Like a normal Trinidadian, I went to see what it was. And I took it up, I looked at it, investigate, went back, talk about it. And I guess they found out that I know where their stuff was. And they did come and tell me that, first they accused me of me being the person who called the cops because I saw where they put their stuff. Of course I didn't do that, but I was given the option to help them get rid of it. And I thought about my family. First thing first, because I know I have a passport with a visa, I could always fly out the next day and they won't see me, but this is how you hear about people, family get killed and you wonder what happened to them. So I decided, I will do it.
This was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because they had both drugs and guns and money, US and pounds money, where they had hidden this outside by a barrel.
How did they approach you? They came knocking on your door? How did that go?
No, I was sitting outside. I just got home and, the guy walked up to me. I know him from living down the street, and he come and he talked to me. And first time I was like, when they see me do that, but I suppose when I talked about it, or if somebody was watching, they had a watch out or something, that they saw me, interfere with it. So that night I think about it, I started to tell my family, but then I study if I get my family involved. I know my brothers and them, they don't want to know where were you coming around my sister for with that, and that could start another thing that will go on and on. What are the chances of me just do it once, get over with it, and nothing could happen? We all know they're the drug people. They've been doing this. Nobody has caught them ever. So what are the chances that I could do it and just do it, just get that out of the way and not owe them or have anything attached to them? And there it was.
You may wonder, what exactly was in the barrel that Marsha peeped into? She tells us what she saw, but insists she did not remove any of its contents. Now, what you saw, the product that you saw and the stuff that you didn't touch anything from it, you didn't take anything from it?
No, I just basically went through it, see what it was. And I mean, it's not like I know the difference between what's white and what's brown at that time. I mean, I know weed, and there was weed there, so that's something that I know what it was. There was guns there. Can't tell you what make of gun, because that's not really something that interests me. They had 3 different types of money. They had US, they had pounds, because I know what pounds look like, and there was another kind of money there, but I wasn't sure what it was. I didn't pay attention to that, and I left it. I just know what it was there and where it was.
Yes, folks, so that's, in your mind, was she wrong? Was she wrong for accepting? What do you think? What, in your position, or what would you tell your daughter or son to do if this happens to them?
Do you think she was a typical Trini to go and mark out what was in the barrel in the first place? I mean, she claimed that, she saw them putting it in the barrel, and she went to investigate. I mean, I don't know if that's normal, typical behavior, but perhaps a curiosity, as we mentioned in the promo.
What would you do? If you're just joining us, you're listening to Independency, and what we are doing here, we're taking you on a journey of Marsha'S making the wrong choice, and ending up in a very precarious position. So you just join us, thank God. Remember to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel especially, and please share so that other people can learn from what we're going to do. When we return, part 2 of Marsha'S story. Stay right there, it gets more interesting.
After being approached to help dispose of the drugs by trafficking it to England, Marsha describes the mental torture she endured while planning the trip, hiding the details from her family, and considering whether it was the right decision. She also learns about the methods and channels used to traffic drugs.
He had me buy the ticket, but to show the trace that I buy that ticket, so that there was no connection to him.
So you go to a travel agent?
No, he had me buy it online. He said if you go to a travel agent, it'll take too long. I needed to buy it a couple weeks in advance and all of this. So they show that this is a planned vacation.
So where does all this instruction take place? At his residence or?
No, he came back to my house like if he coming to check me, like talking to me like if he interested in me. Because even my brother's like, well, why are you talking to him? I'm like, no, they're trying to see, trying his best to see how best he could get in with me. But as I try to palm it off like that so that they won't try to follow up on it. And he did give me the money to put onto my account to make the transaction, and I did it. It was 2 weeks of hell because I keep thinking about this. All right, just get it done with and move on. Just get it done, move on. Just get it done and move on.
Did he explain to you how it would be done, as in when you would get
He said when I cross the airport.
Which airport?
Trinidad Airport. When I cross customs, where they search you down, that I will get it then. Come to the bathroom, and somebody will get it. So it's somebody working in the airport that got it to me. All right. He did before show me what it would look like, fit it, see if I was comfortable with it. Then he said they would put some in my bag, on the linings. He wanted to look at what bag I was using. He said, where do you want? Do you want to wear it or do you want it in your bag? Figure it out. Which is more comfortable for me traveling with. I choose the one for the bag because I could either wear it, I could have wear it on my stomach, or leave it in the bag. So
it was like a belt, something like a belt.
And
did you know how much?
No, I didn't know much until after I got arrested here, and they weighed it and tested it.
The first stunning twist to the story is where Marsha collected the drugs from an airport official in the departure lounge, highlighting that they too are vulnerable to the promise of money in exchange for abetting the drug trade. Marsha also describes the uncomfortable and terrifying 8-hour flight. When you got to Piaco, you, of course, went to the counter.
Yeah, checked in fine. Went through the customs where they search you. I was fine. I went upstairs. It was upstairs where they search you before you go in the waiting lounge area there. I was sitting. I was like, should I go to the toilet? How would I meet this person? I don't know what the person looking like. But as I was sitting there, I'm facing, and I saw a woman came and stand up there, and she looked at me straight in my eyes, made eye contact with me, and then pulled off and went into the... So I'm like, all right, that has to be the person. So I followed her in. They had on uniform. I went in and she just handed to me. She didn't say anything. She didn't tell me anything. She handed to me and walked back out. She had on gloves on her hand. She had on her gloves on her hand. She handed to me and she walked back out. And at this point, I weighed the option. Put it in my bag, put it on me. I used the toilet about twice. Because I'm like, all right, this is happening. This is definitely happening. And I guess I gave myself a little more confidence that I've already passed the search part. So I said, but I'm looking at the desk. I'm like, do they search before you? Do they search? Yes, they do a second search, but they search your bag, they already search you. So I'm like, all right, let me just start thinking out of the box here. So I did put it onto me, into my pants here, pull my belt tight to hold it, and fix my clothes over it. When we were going through to get onto the plane, they did a random search for bags. So I'm like, all right, the Lord is definitely with me, because he just gave, apparently I had the intuition to put it on me and not in my bag. Got to sit on the plane. I was like, it was the most uncomfortable ride, because it was like sticking me in my legs here, and I'm like, do I go and take it up, put it in my bag? And I'm like, just sit quiet. I didn't eat for that long flight. I didn't use the toilet. I was like, oh.
Why didn't you eat? Because, I mean, you didn't swallow anything.
No, I just did not have the appetite. I felt like if I eat, I don't know if my stomach would have pushed out, if I would have wanted to use the toilet, if I get up, somebody would see it. Suppose I go there and it fall out. I had the whole thing of sit in that seat and don't move.
So that was part 2 of Marsha'S story. So she explains, where the important part here is where and from whom she got the drugs.
We'll deal with that. Before we wrap up, we'll deal with that. That's a special segment. Because it's not about them this morning. It's about the fallout from it, which is Marsha.
Yep.
Who's Marsha?
Yep.
That's the fallout we're dealing with, and we're trying to prevent more Marsha'S.
Yep.
It is what it is.
But what would you have done in that circumstance as well? If you are, you purchase this ticket and you jump in on the flight and you're supposed to collect this from somebody. You collect it. What do? Do you alert somebody? Do you flush it down the toilet? Or do you, as she did, strap it onto your body and hope for the best?
And it's an affront to the police service as well, because the SIU, they are agents from SIU at the airport, and they are supposed to circumvent this, or prevent this from happening.
Yeah.
And so they had but they had enough clout to bypass.
Yep.
The police service.
Yep.
So the police service were clueless this was going on, right under their nose, literally.
Correct.
So
and clearly the individuals that trapped her in this situation were connected, connected.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency. We go to a break, and then we return to hear part 3 of Marsha'S journey to a prison in the UK. This interview you're listening to, we sat in a part of the Drake Hall prison, HMP Drake Hall, and we interviewed Marsha, among other Trinidadians, who Trinidad and Tobago nationals, who you'll be hearing from in the near future. So let's go to this break, and we'll be back with more. Stay right there.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is once you pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time, enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
Hello. Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please?
This is Miss Sheila.
Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line. Mommy, it's Sherry.
Oh God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going?
Mommy, I called in to tell you I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail.
Oh God, Sherry, what you do? How you reach there? Oh God, how we gonna do?
Oh God, Mommy, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It'll be alright. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Eye on Dependency. Reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
Give me my phone.
What you doing taking them kind of pictures? I'll tell Mommy.
And I'll tell her you invaded my privacy.
Privacy? When you send those pics, you lose all privacy. It's like setting up a billboard with your naked pics for the world to see.
Those pictures are for my boyfriend's eyes only, and he'll never do that to me.
Yes, he can, or one of his friends or family. Or someone can steal his phone. Sending naked pics can open you up to embarrassment for you, your family, and friends. You can be harassed by bullies. Your pics can be uploaded to websites and seen by everybody, even the wrong people, sex offenders. It can also affect you getting a good job in the future. Once those pictures go out, you can never get them back.
Okay, I'll tell my boyfriend to delete them, and I'll delete these. I'm glad I have a smart little sister.
I'm still telling Mommy.
So welcome back. Those are our PSAs for the day, and I hope you're paying attention. We now want to go to part 3 of Marsha'S story, where she describes what happened when she arrives at, is it Gatwick? At Gatwick in London.
You just talk to your children, speak to your family. There are a number of mothers who, well, they know now, but anytime your daughter could leave and not tell you, and which means they knew what they were doing. Okay, just bear that in mind. It's unfortunate to have to say that in such a blunt way, but never ever take it for granted that your daughter or son would not fall into a trap like this, or even voluntarily choose to do this. Let's go to the story.
Marsha has miraculously survived the 8-hour flight and has cleared customs and immigration at Gatwick Airport, all with cocaine strapped to her body. While awaiting her pickup, she makes a desperate phone call to her brother, asking for his assistance.
When we got to the airport, we went through customs, everything was fine. I got out the airport. I have family here. This is the moment that I try to call him to start to say what's going on, because I'm already here, I'm outside. And he's like, are you out of your goddamn mind? And so I said, could you come and pick me? I said, because they haven't called me. I said, I have my phone on and nobody has called me. I said, and he plain blank said, my brother said, I am not coming to you. Delete your phone number off my phone, please, because you don't know who's listening, who's watching, or what. When I got off the phone with my brother, I got their call from them. And they said, all right, the guy in the top so-and-so color is watching you. Just go into him, hug him up like if you know him, and that's the person.
Marsha is on the verge of escaping scot-free, with the drugs still strapped to her body. But her relief is short-lived, as in a remarkable turn of events, both she and the driver are stopped and searched by customs officers patrolling the airport.
I'm outside, I got my phone call. They come in, the vehicle is there, we're in the vehicle and we're driving out the airport. And we are about to go over a crosswalk, and somebody steps into it, and he almost hits them, the driver, the guy who picked me up. And what happens is that the woman's suitcase falls, so it looked like a big, but he really didn't hit her. He more hit her bags. So then the patrolling custom officers come over to see what's going on, and then they decide, okay, 2 black people in a car, let's see what's going on. And we didn't make a hasty rush. He just more or less, her bag stumbled over, and so they decided, well, you're in a rush. They decided to search the car and search me, and that was it. He had this like cotton stuff that he sprayed on it and passed it on you, and that turned blue. He didn't even pat me down. Once he passed that on you, it turns blue. That means you had some interactions with drugs. So they took me back in. They took the driver back into there, but he didn't go all the way back in. I went further in. They questioned me about, do you have anything to declare? That was the first thing. Do you have anything to declare or to say before they do a body search? And I'm like, declare what? I don't have any food stuff. Did anybody give you anything to bring? And that was the question there, right there and then. And I said yes. At this point, there was no going back. There was no, it was out of it. And they searched me, they got it, and they took me into another room, and they said somebody will come and talk to you in a while.
Marsha is now facing a reality she did not consider, being arrested and charged for drug trafficking. She's consumed by thoughts of what went wrong and how she will explain the situation to her family back in Trinidad.
What is going to happen? I started to think about my job. I started to think about rent. I started to think about my nieces and nephews, what they're going to say. I'm normally the person who says what goes or what doesn't go. How am I going to call them? Who am I going to call first? Would they let me back home if I tell them and explain them the situation that, I'm like, and I just sat there waiting for somebody to come and talk to me.
You weren't crying yet?
No, I hadn't gotten to that part yet. Trying to, I'm like, how did this happen? I was outside. This is just to get this over with and get away from these people. What went wrong? And I'm like, all right, I have to call my family. How am I doing this? What am I going to say to these people? I'm already here. It's on me. There's no turning back.
Marsha'S story.
Ladies and gentlemen, quick points before we go to part 4.
Yes.
One, Marsha did everything right, and when you know you're supposed to get caught, chances are you will. When it's your time, it's your time, because
right,
she did not eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's one, and that's supposed to be assigned
red
to
flag.
Any
stewardess or flight attendant
who really paying attention.
Yeah.
Would realize, but this person didn't eat for 8 hours. That's not possible. Going to the airport is a hustle. Get in there, you're sitting there, you cannot wait to see that cart come down the aisle.
True.
And she didn't eat for 8 hours. She got away with that.
Mm-hmm.
She got through customs, and she ended up outside.
Yes.
And
home free.
But to those of you, she probably was connected, starting from where she got it from and who she got it from.
Yep. Correct. Yes, those tentacles probably stretched all the way to Gatwick as well.
You never know. So she was home. She was home free until she got out. She got outside. Called them to pick her up, but to those of you again who thinking about it, when you reach the customs, they ask you, "Did you pack your bag?" Yes. You'll say yes. Anybody give you anything?
That was the question.
No. Okay, but.
So what is this?
Once they find it in your bag, you have 2 options. One is to give up the jig and say, okay, yes. Sorry, that may contribute to you how much time you get from them when it reaches up the road. Or run.
Where she run it going?
Exactly. That's my point. That's the 2 choices you have. Either give up or run. And this happened with an air hostess, a flight attendant, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Who from Trinidad, who ended up at Kennedy with a few kilos well.
Yes.
And she took off in pumps. And I don't know if anybody remember that story who's listening, but that happened. That actually happened. So yeah, you have a choice: either give up the jig or run. That's because once it's in your bag, ignorance of the contents of your suitcase is not an excuse. It's in there. It's yours. You will do time. Just saying.
Correct.
So let's go to part 4.
Yes. I don't know if you want to take a break at this point, or go straight to part 4.
Let's go to part 4.
Let's go to part 4 and hear about the process. Now she's given up the ghost. She has admitted what she's doing. So let's hear what transpires from here now.
And remember to like and subscribe. During the interrogation phase with Customs and her solicitor, reality hits and Marsha understands the serious crime she is accused of. It is sobering reality. Police station, fingerprinting, formal charges that causes Marsha to break down.
So you're sitting in the room, how long you had to stay in that room before someone
I
got
sat
here?
there for like almost an hour of torture, wondering what is going to happen. Because I've never had to deal or had anybody who was arrested, so I didn't know what is the procedure. So I'm like, do they put me back on the plane and I go back to Trinidad and deal with case there, or do they deal with it up here? What is the procedure? And I'm sitting there, and then a gentleman came in and he said, they've contacted a solicitor for me. Would I accept a solicitor? And is there anybody that I need to call? I said, because we are going to be charging you. And I think at that point, that's when the waterworks start, because I'm like, oh God, this is happening. This is not like we put you back on the plane and this is it. The waterworks start there. He say, calm down, you want some water? Politely. We're gonna get a solicitor. Do you need anything to eat? As he opened by the door, the solicitor was standing right there. And she came in and she says, I'm gonna need to talk to you. You need to tell me what happened, everything from the start till that gentleman just walked out that door. I need to know everything, because at this point, they found it on you, so we need to know what happened. And I told her everything, every detail. She wrote it down, and she said, okay, so they're gonna come in now and take your statement from you. Two of them came in with a little recorder, and they asked me my name, my date of birth, and they started their procedure. After I went through everything with them, the solicitor remained in the room with me. She says, okay, so they're gonna officially take you to a police station.
These are Customs?
Yeah, Customs has done their work. They are now going to take you to a police station where these charges are gonna be read, they're gonna fingerprint you and stuff like that. And she says, I will talk to you in the morning. So I'm like, in the morning, am I gonna be staying here or are they sending me back? She said, no, you're gonna be here. The waterworks started again. I was like, oh my God.
The hardest part of this experience for Marsha was the internal conflict. Do I tell my family the truth or not?
After the police station, I stayed there for a night. I went to court the next morning, and I was taken to a prison, Holloway. They started me like, you have to call home. It took me 3 weeks to call my family and even tell them where I am. To this date, I haven't told them what I'm here for. I still don't know how I'm going to tell them that.
So what did you tell them when you called them?
I just told them it was in relation to drugs, and I'm going through the court. I'm not allowed to discuss it on any phone, and when I'm released, I'm going to have to face that day.
Persons convicted of drug trafficking in the UK can face up to 10 years in prison. Marsha explains how her case was dealt with and the leniency she received from the court, which handed down a sentence of just over 2 years.
It wasn't a whole kilo, it was less than a kilo. It was, however, 100%. And the street value was like about, they said would have been £70,000. I didn't have any previous convictions. I was given 6 years to do 3. and as a foreign national, you get 9 months taken off.
So you said video link. So what is that all about?
You don't actually go to you don't actually present in the court, but you are linked to the court. So I am at the jail, and through the video link, I could see the court, I could see the judge, they could see me in a room, and I talk to them through that. So at that point, they discussing purity, duress. Did I assist them with any of the information that I gave them was helpful in them apprehending the people who were behind it. The driver, however, that was in the vehicle with me, which is considered a co-conspirator, because he's a British national, he was given bail and never returned to the case. So I felt the whole brunt. I got the whole brunt of the case. I didn't take bail because my solicitor says, you're foreign national, your family's gonna have to come up with an arm and a leg for you to get bail. So she said you will get time. So she suggested that I don't take bail, and so that will be part of my remand time.
So, Marsha, that's part 4. Marsha has really come to face with the reality of what she has done. I want to believe that she really had no clue of the seriousness of what she was being coerced or pressured into doing. She really had no clue. And it was only when she got caught that she realized, well, they're not sending me back home, I'm going to be here in prison. That's a very sobering reality.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and you're just picking up a story from Marsha, a young lady, Trinidad and Tobago national, who found herself on the wrong end of the United Kingdom's law. And it's really mind-blowing. I don't know if you all are traveling with us, with her, but picture yourself in that position. Because she even went on to say, so wait, you mean look, tomorrow, which means I'm staying here tonight? She still was in so much shock that she didn't understand, hey, you are arrested for attempting to...
Exactly.
But it's interesting what she said down at the end. Well, I wanted to hear what she said, how she felt after this break. When we return, you'll hear how it hit home, how it all came together. And for those of you who right now have a child in a prison in the UK,
Commiserations.
Our heart goes out to you because we know it is. We saw these ladies.
Yes.
And the one thing with the UK, the treatment is very humane with them. And there was a time, I don't want to use this as an inducement or encouragement to do it, but the UK actually pay for them to go to school and give the mules a stipend when they're coming back home, when they're deporting them. And it has been reduced significantly. I don't know if it's still done, because they see this person as a victim. And regardless, even if they volunteer or work in doing it, they still give
them an opportunity to rebuild their lives.
Redeem themselves and rebuild their lives.
Yep.
So we must say hats off to the United Kingdom for doing that. It's one of the very few countries that will do that for someone in that position.
And the other point I wanted to take out of that last segment, Gav, was the dilemma she faced about telling her family what she had done. At the point at which we interviewed her, she had not told them what she was really there for. And that is a significant, it was significant for her because you heard how she broke down when she was saying it. Because from the onset, she was worried about getting her family involved. She wanted to keep them out of it, basically. And
but
now,
you can't.
You can't because
you disappeared.
Yeah, it affects everybody. When she got caught, her family was immediately brought into it.
And that's why we do this promo, Sherry's phone call and Mr. James, because that's what really happens when you have to finally make that call to home and say, Mommy, don't worry. Anytime you answer your phone and you get a very serious British accent person telling you, I'm calling from HM, that's it. finally you know where your daughter or son is. So let's go to a quick break, and when we return, hear what how it all came together for Marsha. We'll be right back.
The sex trafficking thing is a serious thing, boy.
Sex trafficking? I thought it was only human trafficking it have.
But what do you mean?
No serious thing, boy. Where you get that from? I don't know about human trafficking, not about sex trafficking.
So how can you spot and identify perpetrators and children who are victims of trafficking? Many victims who are children do not look like under 18 years old. Child victims often move escorted around alone or in small groups. They also live in shared and even packed rooms and have very little clothing and belongings. Child victims are often seen with adults who are not their parents, their relatives, or their caregivers. Migrant children are often unaccompanied and separated from their parents. Child victims are often engaged in work that is not suitable for children. They are often deprived of their freedom to go to school, to play, and to enjoy being a child. Perpetrators have unexplained sources of income and possessions. They are businessmen and businesswomen running legitimate and illegitimate businesses. Perpetrators may appear to be the victim's friend, boyfriend, close relative, or employer.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Give me my phone.
What you doing taking them kind of pictures? I'll tell mommy.
And I'll tell her you invaded my privacy.
Privacy? When you send those pics, you lose all privacy. It's like setting up a billboard with your naked pics for the world to see.
Those pictures are for my boyfriend's eyes only, and he'll never do that to me.
Yes, he can, or one of his friends or family, or someone can steal his phone. Sending naked pics can open you up to embarrassment for you, your family, and friends. You can be harassed by bullies. Your pics can be uploaded to websites and seen by everybody, even the wrong people, sex offenders. It can also affect you getting a good job in the future. Once those pictures go out, you can never get them back.
Okay, I'll tell my boyfriend to delete them, and I'll delete these. I'm glad I have a smart little sister.
I'm still telling mommy.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago, through the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, continues to develop and implement effective policies and procedures to prevent and suppress human trafficking. To date, the National Task Force has developed 2 national plans of action against the crime of trafficking in persons. Trinidad and Tobago adopts a 4-pronged approach in its response to human trafficking. 1. Effective identification of victims and witnesses. 2. Prevention of human trafficking. 3. Protection of victims and witnesses. And 4. Prosecution of suspected traffickers. In the Ministry of National Security, we established a specialized unit called the Counter-Trafficking Unit to lead and manage Trinidad and Tobago's response to human trafficking. The Counter-Trafficking Unit works closely with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Immigration Division, and international law enforcement agencies to aggressively and proactively investigate and prosecute suspected human traffickers. Human trafficking is a serious crime. Rest assured, the government of Trinidad and Tobago and its agencies remain committed in the fight against human trafficking and will respond with immediate effect when the need arises.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
Just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and you missed quite a lot, but remember you can always return to our page or channel That's Iron Dependency, and get the program from the start. And we're going to hear now let's hear now from Marsha how it all came together for her. And
what she's learned from this experience, more importantly, because it's interesting to hear what she has got out of it, apart from the prison sentence and, the stress of that. It's interesting to hear what she has learned out of this experience.
Let's go to Marsha'S story.
Marsha describes how she reacted to the sentence, which was handed down at a time of the year when families are usually together. She was somewhat relieved with the sentence, but resigned herself to do the time because she acknowledged her guilt in the matter.
Well, the fact that they told me that I would get something like 8 to 10 years, and I was like, 8 to 10 years, I'll never see home again. When she said 6, I was like, I was still like hoping that it would have been 2 during a year so I could still get home. So when she said 6, I was like, the waterworks started again. I was like, oh my God, I have to call them again now to tell them this. And I was sentenced 2 days before Christmas. What do you say to a Christmas gift like that? There was nothing I could do. I was just like, I am actually in prison for Christmas. I'm going to be here for another 3 Christmases.
Was the magistrate, how was she to you? Was she say understanding or?
She says, based on my age and I haven't had any previous convictions, either here in England or in Trinidad. She said this is just a misfortune of wrong place and wrong time, but the facts, the lies that it was done, and somebody has to pay for it. And as much as I gave them as much evidence, there was nobody else implemented in this. The co-conspirator is not here, and you have to stand up and take the blame for the actions that was done.
Marsha has made the most of her time in prison, pursuing educational opportunities as well as the chance to work with recovering addicts. She thinks that the skills she has learned will enable her to contribute meaningfully to the increased awareness about drug abuse and drug trafficking back home.
I've been to 2 other prisons before I finally got to this one. I got into education. I have 2 NVQ 3 level certificates. I did a bit of everything. I volunteered at the prison doing 2x2, which is like helping other women learn to read. I had a job as an insider. That's when new people come into the prison. I work with them, introduce them to the prison, do their paperwork, help them get their jobs and get settled in. I did that for a whole year, and then I moved on to doing National Career Service, which works outside and inside the prison. That's also working with women when they come in, even the ones who are here and they're ready to go back out, helping them get settled with disclosure letters, CVs, if they want to do continue education, prepare them for going back out. At this point, I'm on the resettlement wing, where you get the opportunity to work outside and put to use all these certificates that I got in here. So that's what I'll be starting to do next month. I've done a lot that I would not have done outside. I've gone back and upgraded my GCs and CXC levels that they considered up here. And I'm not saying that prison is a good thing, but I've done a lot and I've learned a lot. I've had to work with women who are here because of the drugs that I've bought here. That's why I have taken up going to work with the trust that out there that works with women who have been through this drug thing, who are continuously battling it to stay away from it and to stay out of prison. So I think I've learned a lot, and I'm ready to give back to the community.
Marsha'S time spent volunteering in prison has now given her a new perspective on drug abuse, as she has seen firsthand how devastating addiction can be to families.
Before I came here, when you see a crackhead as a crackhead, they willingly taking drugs, but if there's no drugs for them to take, because there's people like me who bring it in and didn't get caught, it's running. And here I am seeing people who made a choice for drugs over their children. I've talked to girls here, sometime in the night they call, you get a listener's Samaritan call, and you have to listen to them saying that, they're only allowed to talk to the children once a week because they got their children taken away because of drugs. And they was fine with it, but now They're starting after time, they're off the drugs now, they're starting to miss the children. It's taking them twice the amount of time to get the children back than how easy it was to give them up for drugs. So, I want to be part, opening up people's eyes, especially when they're coming down that road where they now start and they're getting hooked on it. I want to be able to tell them, listen, there's nothing more than your children and your family. Don't give that up for drugs.
Finally, Marsha offers realistic advice to anyone who is contemplating a trip like the one she made to England. She advises people to pursue every other option available.
For women out there, there's another avenue. If it is afraid to go to the police, at least sit and discuss it with somebody else. For me, if I had talked to somebody else and get a second opinion, I might have been home for the past 2 years. So get a second opinion. Don't make this decision on your own. Talk to somebody about it. Don't keep it to yourself.
We say many thanks to the British High Commission, Marian Garvey of the Prison Radio Association for accompanying us to this interview, and the Ministry of Justice in the United Kingdom for paving the way for us to enter the prison. Stay tuned, as after the break we open the phone lines at 622-3937. You're listening to Eye on Dependency, reality radio at its best. On I-95.5 FM, we'll be back.
So that was Marsha'S story, part 5. What you think about how it ended up? For me, I appreciate what she said about everything that she's learned while in prison. I know that is not the case for a lot of people, but for some, and including Marsha, prison can be a turning point in your life and an opportunity for you to learn new skills, to learn about yourself, and to help other people. And thankfully for Marsha, she had the opportunity to do all three.
For me, prison was a wake-up call. For me, it worked. And it worked for Marsha because some of the things that she said, that she realized were very powerful statement, the drug that she brought, and seeing the people. And this is what I say to people: when you try to traffic drugs, or you attempt to, what you're going to do is help poison other people's children.
Correct.
That's what you're actually doing. So if you feel comfortable doing that, then fine, go right ahead. If you feel recruiting people to do that, then you go right ahead too. We can't tell you what to do. However, understand the fallout from that. A family will lose a family member, and sometimes they could get trafficked as well, because when the person gets to their destination, then the people there could decide, okay, thanks to the drugs, we could sell you now to somebody else.
Exactly. And that is probably what could have happened to Marsha. Had she gotten out to the airport, she might have never returned home. She might have been trafficked herself. And that is the connection that we're trying to help you to make between drug trafficking and human trafficking. There's a very thin line, especially when it comes to women and girls.
And you have learned this morning the act, the means, and the purpose of human trafficking.
Yes.
You've heard the director and the deputy director speak to it many times, and we just, so that it would stick.
Reinforcing it.
Yes, you understand, this should stick in your head, the act, which was coercion, and they coerced Marsha. Now, some people on Facebook and YouTube saying, look, I really didn't believe in this story. She knew what she was doing because she didn't tell her parents anything. And I remember I said earlier, some people do that. When the family would swear, my daughter will never do that. So when I asked the question, did you know she was leaving the country? No, I didn't know. Exactly. That's the point. And this is what sends up a red flag too on some borders, because when they mind you, when you book a flight, and they will know exactly before you land in their country how long you bought the ticket, who bought the ticket for you.
Yes.
And so they're not asking you questions they don't already know the answers to,
Correct.
So
and
it's very difficult to fool them.
That is what the guy told her as well, to make sure and buy the ticket way in advance so it would look like a planned trip.
That's right.
That's part of the action.
Yeah, and post 9/11 they became very strict with that.
Yeah.
And if you just buy a ticket for London just last week and come up here, that is not
something
normal.
wrong.
Yeah. So
red flag.
And the advance checking in advance, everything now is to do a thorough check on who is coming to travel.
Yes.
So like I say, once they start asking you questions, it's not that they don't already know the answers to it. And So those of you who would have heard me ask the question about video link and ask the young lady to explain, because they had it before us 10 years. This was 2013.
Correct.
And now that we stepped up the prevention programming, we decided we'll start with this for you and come forward for all the people we've interviewed. We went to 8 prisons in the United Kingdom. And we want to thank, again, from the folks at the British High Commission to Trinidad and Tobago, starting with David Jenkinson, and then Arthur Snell, Tim Stew, and Mark Nottingham, Noel Feeney, Dave King. All of these people ensured that we had a safe passage to and from the prisons.
Yes.
And the Ministry of Justice in the United Kingdom. We thank you all for that support. And
of course, the Prison Radio Association, Phil
Phil
McGuire
Maguire and Andrew Wilkie. We didn't let you all down. We didn't let down our country. We represented well, and we thank you for giving us this opportunity to educate the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, again, folks, those of you listening to us, you get to learn the act, the means, and the purpose of human trafficking. And once you keep that in front of your mind, do not trust your brother. Because there was a lady who called us and told us that her brother gave her a backpack, a knapsack, to take to DC when she was going. And she just felt that the knapsack was feeling heavy, even after taking all the contents of it. And she called a friend of hers who is a member of the police service, and they checked it and realized it was cocaine her brother gave her to carry to the US. Her brother. Blood brother. Folks, be very vigilant. Be very careful. Yeah?
Who was it? Who was the Calypsonian who sang about that? Was it?
About?
Don't
Pro.
carry Don't carry.
Don't let nobody know.
Don't let nobody know.
Yeah.
And there's I mean, I guess he was saying that in kicks, but in jest. But there's a reason why people say that.
Just remember, the contents of your suitcase, the ignorance of the contents of your suitcase
is no defense.
Is no defense at all whatsoever. You can cry blood. You will do time. And it's as simple as that. So, again, it's up to you to take the chance. So let's take a quick break. And when we return, we ask you, do you know this? Do you remember this police officer? And we'll also share something that happened at immigration. That's the news we just got a couple of hours ago. So we'll share that with you, and we'll tie in both of them with the customs and everything. Again, it's not about bashing them, but because every institution in this country has weak individuals who, for some reason or the other, decide to make that choice. But this is just to let them know that there's a price to pay for that as well. So after this break, we'll deal with it, and we pay tribute to deceased WPC Senaka Thomas, from the agent of the counter-trafficking unit, who passed away last week, and we'll give you the funeral details and everything here this morning when we return. And we speak to a member, one of the interpreters who worked with Miss Thomas, and to give her her thoughts on behalf of the CTU. So stay right there. We'll be back with a lot more.
Hi, babe.
Hey, hi, how are you? Good morning.
You busy?
Not for you, how could I assist?
Okay, we have a job for you.
Job? What kind of job is it?
Morning, boss. Well, a small work for you, a little 5,000. What you do? Pick up some girls, drop them and remember the boss for you. You're making a quick 5,000.
Girls, boss. What is this about?
Listen to me now. It's a little small work. You reach in Toko, pick up some girls, drop them and Rima. 5,000.
That sounding like human trafficking. Are you trying to set me up or what? Partner, you know the penalty for human trafficking? Look, I gone now. Excuse me, please.
Do you know that human trafficking is considered a serious crime in Trinidad and Tobago and is punishable by law under the Trafficking in Persons Act Chapter 1210 or the TIPS Act? The penalties for recruiting, receiving, transporting, or housing a victim of human trafficking are a minimum of 15 years for trafficking adults and a fine of $500,000, a minimum of 20 years for trafficking children and a fine of $1 million, a fine of $350,000 and imprisonment for 12 years for transporting a person within or cross TT borders for the purpose of exploiting that person for prostitution. A fine of $400,000 and imprisonment for 15 years for persons who receive a financial or other benefit from tips. A fine of $500,000 and imprisonment for 20 years for any person who receives a financial or other benefits from trafficking children. An additional 15 years imprisonment for any trafficker who uses or threatens to use a dangerous weapon on a victim, or where the victim suffers serious bodily harm, or the victim contracts a life-threatening illness or is sexually assaulted, or if the trafficker abuses his power as someone entrusted with the care or supervision of a child victim. Imprisonment for 25 years for any member of the Defense or Protective Services or any official or public officer having the powers of arrest who commits an offense. Court can order forfeiture of convicted traffickers' property. A company can be fined $5 million for engaging in tips.
We are the counter-trafficking unit of the Ministry of National Security, Trinidad and Tobago, safeguarding human life.
The interlinkages between firearms and other types of crime are largely unexplored, and this is why the Global Firearms Program has decided to really explore these interlinkages through thematic issue papers. We started looking into that and how we could explore that. And basically what we will do at this side event where we will launch the paper is to present some of the conclusions that we have found and some of the main ideas that really jump out from the research and from looking at these interlinkages. One of them is that drugs trafficking really fuels a demand for firearms. Firearms have a very long life cycle and creates many opportunities for their diversion. And drug traffickers use this and they want to acquire firearms for protection, for intimidation, but also for status. So the other interlinkage we saw is in terms of routes and actors. We see that some of the routes and even modus operandi that were pioneered by drug traffickers and in drug trafficking are now being used for firearms. And some of the routes are the same. Sometimes they flow in the same direction, sometimes in opposite directions, and we can see that there's some instances of trade of firearms per guns and vice versa. Then the third dimension that we see that links these two illicit activities is the gun violence, the firearms violence that is connected to the drug trafficking. A lot of the illicit drugs trade is done in a non-violent way. But we see more and more, especially in Latin America, in the Caribbean, but also increasingly in Europe, instances of very serious gun violence that is linked to the drug trade and linked to, gang criminality.
Hello. Hi, this is Patricia Kent from HMP London. Can I speak to Miss Sheila, please? This is Miss Sheila. Hi, I've got an important call for you. Please hold the line. Mommy, it's Sherry. Oh, God, Sherry, we looking for you all the time. 3 weeks now. Where you going? Mommy, I'm calling to tell you I get locked up. I had drugs in my luggage and I'm in England right now. In jail.
Oh, God, Sherry, what will you do? How you reach there? Oh, God, how we gonna do?
Oh, God, Mommy, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It'll be all right. Sorry, I'm sorry.
On Dependency, reality radio at its best every Sunday on I-95.5 FM. Don't miss it.
Thank you for staying with us. This is on Dependency, and thank you very much for tuning in on I-95.5 FM and on our Facebook and YouTube live streams. And we just shared with you Marsha'S story, and if you have any comments to make, you can make them online, or you can wait until we open the lines to make your comments. But now we want to switch.
What are your thoughts on this? Folks, what are your thoughts on what you just heard? Mm-hmm. And how do you believe Marsha? You don't believe her? We'll find out from you. In the meantime, you could drop your comments on Facebook. But before we speak with our series, let me read this for you all. It's not good news. It's not news that I love sharing, but it falls under the arm of national security. And if from this it is true, this is a release from one of the newspapers, and it speaks to an TTPS immigration officer charged by fraud squad. That's the headline. An immigration officer is expected to appear before a San Fernando Masters Court on March 25th, 2024, after she was arrested and charged with misbehavior in public office. Lisa Jairam was charged with the offense on March 22nd, 2024, following the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Roger Gaspard, SC. According to police reports, while conducting inquiries into a report of forged documents, fraud squad officers seized the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela passport allegedly issued to a foreign national. This passport bore Immigration Division, Ministry of National Security Permanent Resident Status stamp endorsements. However, upon thorough examination, it was discovered that the permanent resident status had not been legitimately granted by the Minister of National Security. The investigation continued as officers successfully collaborated with a team from the Immigration Division. Officers from both agencies worked closely together and resources. Let me read that again. Agencies work closely together, sharing information, that's right, expertise and resources to conduct thorough inquiries into the matter. Consequently, the immigration endorsements were deemed unauthorized and an immigration officer was arrested. Senior Superintendent Alec Bloom and Inspector Tricia Smith supervised the investigation, while Sergeant Lochan conducted inquiries with assistance of Woman Police Corporal Edwards, PC Kernahan, and PC Thomas of the fraud squad. Investigations, of course, are continuing, and this came from the Corporate Communications Unit of Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Now, we heard of this. We heard of an airport official giving Marsha drugs to take with her. And we also, just last week, a member of the police service now was hauled before the courts for child molestation and other matters related to that. Again, how can a minister prevent that from happening? How can even the chief immigration officer prevent that from happening? No one can prevent that from happening. This is the point we're trying to make, that there are weak members of each arm of the protective service because a number of them are predisposed. And
I want to disagree with you there. I don't think this is preventable. This is not preventable. Let me say that. It's not. Okay. It's preventable in the sense that those institutions of law enforcement probably need to tighten up on who and how they recruit and their procedures. Because if this is one officer, there are more who would be willing to accept money to create false documents. I mean, it's.
But it's.
So is it that? No, I think we need to get at the root of what is causing this kind of corruption and fraud within these agencies. Because it's an individual, but are they simply lured by the money, or is it the power that they have, and the power and authority that they have is going to their heads?
Natasha, there are people who can say no to a first drink, a first smoke, and there are those who would take it. There are those who will say no to accepting money to circumvent the law, and just for an extra $1 more. There are people like that. There are people who will not go down that road, but then there are those who will.
Yes.
Why is the question? Just like, why would a man molest his own daughter? That's another question. Why? Why would I and other people back in the military accept to use cocaine, knowing that it was an illegal drug, but not understanding what would happen when we use it? I now understand. So what I'm saying is, how my chief of defense staff at the time, or my commanding officer at the time, knew I was going to do that. All they saw was a frontline soldier who was very good and very professional, and all of a sudden he went left. How can he prevent that? He couldn't prevent that. He could have, the corporal who brought it into the defense force and introduced it to us. How are you preventing that from happening? You can't.
No, you can't. But again, it speaks to, I think, in your case and in this, the culture and culture of the organization too has a lot to do with it. So if it is that drug use is permissible and for certain officers and not for others, or if certain officers, law enforcement officers, are allowed to operate in outside of the confines of the rules and regulations of their profession, and what does the culture say about how we operate? The culture of the organization is important too.
Well, again, for some people it's normal, for some people it's not.
Yeah.
And we just hope that other officers there can learn from this, just like I wanted. I'm just sorry that, we weren't included in a lot of things with different armed protective service. We have, as an NGO, put ourselves out there, and we were making good inroads, but it's not continuous. Because I can't stop anybody from, any member of the protective service, from accepting a bribe, using drugs, absenting, doing what. I can't stop you from doing that, but I can show you what happens after.
Yes.
Because I walk that road, and this is what I would have liked to continue to do. But, however, that's another story. I just hope that this story you all heard we just read and shared with you, that it will resonate with you, any arm of the protective service. Remember something, you took an oath.
Yep.
It's as simple as that.
You have all of the power and authority to do as you wish to citizens of this country. So, that is a very serious responsibility.
Not only that, the oath binds you to a higher power. Understand it. I don't know what it is, how to say it again. The oath that we took, the oath that you took before you joined any arm of the protective service, it binds you to a higher power. Not the chief of defense staff, because the chief of defense staff, when they drop him off to work, he going to work. He can't keep his eyes on them. But that is why they ask you to, because that person, and you will pay.
But who's studying the oath after they take the oath? Who's studying the oath?
Some of them can't even recite it.
Well, you see, there you go.
I'm
so
serious.
That means that the culture of the organization is not encouraging people to reflect on this in their daily, duties and activities. The culture does not encourage that kind of reflection and introspection as to, this is my job and this is how I must conduct myself. If it's not reinforced within its ranks, then how expect it to manifest?
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and we just completed Marsha'S story, and now we are going to pay tribute. Chopin, could you put up the picture of the passing of, it's picture of the deceased WPC Thomas from the counter-trafficking unit, who we're going to speak. We have Alice on the line holding. She has been holding for quite a while, so let's speak with her now. Alice, good morning to you.
Hi, Gav. Good morning. Good morning to Natasha.
Morning.
Good morning to all the listeners.
And could you say good morning to your Spanish-speaking listeners, please?
Buenos días a toda la comunidad de habla hispana. Buenos días.
Yes. Alice is no stranger to Dependency, folks. Some of you remember her. And Alice is an interpreter and works for an arm of national security, which is the counter-trafficking unit. Alice is one of the people who have sat on a lot of cases and doing and she's been very busy in Trinidad and Tobago. And we really thank her for her service that she does for the counter-trafficking unit. But she lost a friend. And her picture, Shopman, could you put up the picture, please?
Yes, image F.
Image F of Sinaka.
Yes.
And she's going to be buried this week. And like I was saying to our audience, she's one of the most pleasant persons I've ever met. And very professional. And she sat next to me and in Cascadia when they had the CTU put on the last workshop. She was sitting next to me talking normal. I had no idea she was sick. Alice, welcome. And tell us about WPC Thomas as much as you can and what's going to happen this week.
Thank you, Gab, and Thank you for Dependency for giving me this opportunity. I know sometimes our police officers in Trinidad and Tobago are sometimes looked at a very under negative microscope, but I have had the blessing, the opportunity to work with some very, very highly professional, qualified officers, and one of them was WPC Thomas, fondly called the First Lady. And sometimes people just call her Tom for short. She was a no-nonsense woman, very blunt. Sometimes she would come across a little harsh in her approach, but it was she would not take nonsense. If she knew you were lying, she will tell you, you lie. This was the kind of person sometimes she was. But sometimes you didn't understand her approach as she went about her job, and then at the end, if you were wise enough to hush her mouth, you would understand what she was doing, and in the end, it would be all good. So, very well-mannered and pleasant, yes. Very professional, but don't be fooled. She was very adamant about doing this job and doing it in a very professional way. Very pragmatic. And the last time I saw her was for the celebration of International Women's Day. She was up and about helping in the kitchen, doing this, going all over, helping. We had a special speaker. She interacted with the special speaker, giving her opinion. And the last time we laughed so much, this, is incredible. Because we laughed twice I saw her before. She would have passed twice. Once at their offices and at the International Women's Day celebration. And both times we had a hearty laugh, just making jokes. Little did I know, God, that was the last time I was going to see my friend. I would have suffered a close family death in October. And she picked up the phone and she said, "We are coming over to your home." I was a mess. I didn't even want anyone to see me. But she was always there. Do you need something? How is it going? Are you going to come into the office? No, I couldn't come into the office for about 2 weeks. I want to tell you all that these officers, we don't see their work. It's always behind closed doors. And sometimes they are not celebrated. And I just wanted to thank you again, Gav, and Dependency, to give me this time to celebrate WPC Thomas's legacy. I hope they keep her legacy of this no-nonsense approach to the job and very professional. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Aracelis. I unfortunately did not have the opportunity to interact with her, but could you say a little bit more about her family, some of the persons in her family who would be bereaving right now?
She was a very private person. That's a very private. When we knew something about her, it was because I think it just was out of control. Her private life, she kept it very private, and rightly so, because of the job that she did. She mentioned a lot of her mother, and if she's listening right now, I want to give my condolences to the mother and to the rest of the family, and even to the rest of the unit and the other task force that would be with us, when we would be doing our work. And she would not have wanted to. I know she had 7 siblings, but that's all we could say about it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We thank you so much for, like I said, your contribution to Trinidad and Tobago that you continue to make. And on behalf of us here, we want to say, condolences to her family.
Yes.
And we'll give you details of the funeral, which is, could you share that again to Aracelis?
Yes, the funeral is on Tuesday at 10 a.m. in the morning on Duke Street, Pentecostal Church.
All right. And then there's a repass at the Belmont.
At Belmont Community
Center.
This afternoon there would also be, God, I'm sorry to cut you. This afternoon there would also be a wake for her at the Seaman and Waterfront.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. You know, anybody wants to go there and just be with all the persons who loved her, all the persons who worked with her, you know.
That's Seaman and Waterfront on Bison Road?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. Well, you heard it, folks. Those of you who would like to pay tribute and give the family some love and support, you can go down to the Ryson Road location of Seaman and Waterfront Workers Trade Union Hall and commiserate with the family. Araceli, thank you so much, all right? You take care.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes, you too.
Hi.
So that was, you say her name, please?
Aracelis Olivero.
That's right. And this is WPC Thomas, for those of you who would remember her. We have her picture up. I like I said, I've met her. We take your calls now, folks. I've met her, and I could tell you is one of the most professional persons. Always greet you with a pleasant smile, pleasant hello, and she has always been professional. And to her family, we thank you for lending her to us for the time that she was here, and she did her work.
Yep.
Thank you so much. So, to wrap up, those of you who, and then remember we have new people at the helm of CTU, so we have to keep letting you know who they are for those of you who don't know yet.
Yes.
So the director now is Mr. Alan Miguel, and the deputy director is Dane Marie Marshall. Right, so, and this unit continues to do the work for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and protecting us here, the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Lest we forget, they have really responsible for the conviction of of a human trafficker, the first of its kind in Trinidad and Tobago, and we are really, really proud of the work that this unit has been doing from an inception, and we hope that you, members of the public, will continue to assist the CTU in what they are trying to accomplish, not just to apprehend perpetrators, but to take care of victims as well.
So what do you think of Marsha'S story? Do you believe her? Do you don't believe her? What did you learn from it? You understand the act, the main purpose of human trafficking, or you want us to repeat it? You tell us. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Gart and Natasha.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you for an excellent program as per usual. Now, I believe, Marsha, the reason being, there are many families, many people who grew up in such a sheltered life. You know that they're so naive. They don't have what you call street sense. They don't know how to handle situations when they come upon them and so on. So hence the reason why I believe her. Because I can tell you, in my family and certain families, if you don't have discussions as a family as to what is going on in this world today with drug trafficking and human trafficking and all these things, and you just sweep it under the carpet and don't have that discussion. They find themselves now, when they're faced with a situation, not knowing what to do, feeling ashamed, don't want to get their family involved, end up getting the family involved unwittingly, So that is something that families have to discuss now. And secondly, to the WPC, I must say, condolences to her family. If only we had more people like her in these services. And the reason why I'm saying that, God, maybe the time has come where all these, whether it's customs, immigration, police, Coast Guard, everybody, they should be subjected to this test. How you call it, God?
Polygraph testing.
Polygraph testing on a regular basis.
That's what the minister is working on.
They're in a job and feel, hey, I here for life. No, on a regular basis, they won't know when they're going to call you to have you tested, to do polygraph testing. I think that should be done regularly, and maybe it may cut down on some of the bad behavior and wanted to just be greedy and get it all for the money and not be a true patriot like WPC, who has passed on. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
As just after what you said there now, the High Commission to London our High Commission, British High Commission to London. Trinidad and
TNT
Tobago
High Commission
to
yes.
London. Right. Once there's a facility that's available to someone getting arrested, you can call the High Commission, and they would not interfere with the procedure of the case, but they would give you that support that you would need by providing,
providing items that you need,
yes.
and or being an intercessor with your family.
With your family and all of that. So instead of you making that call, probably you could have the British High Commission do it, just in case you still take the chance and you got caught. Well, you have that option. Remember that. Yep. Hello, good morning.
Morning to the wonderful couple there.
Morning, sir.
I'm in studio there.
Morning.
Human imperfections got to Natasha, and he lost some money. I don't want to be a judge of the young lady. God will do that. But what is learned from this is that we have to understand that ports of entry is a red line zone. A red line zone with high security. And your personnel there must be premium and must be held at a higher level. And I don't know if you all have listened to the polygraph debate, lie detector test that the government is trying to pass through Parliament. You all have gotten any time to listen to that?
Yes, I just mentioned it, that the minister is working on that feverishly right now.
Right. And the opposition is adamant that they're not going to support it. And what that polygraph bill is, human beings will be human beings from time to time. But what you do is you strengthen systems around them. So you will be able to sift out the good from the bad. Right? So the polygraph bill is to deal with customs, immigration, border, inland revenue, police, soldier, everybody. And as I say, ports of entry, sea and land is a red light zone of high security. So listening to what transpired, she got through Piaco here, and someone handed to her. Even the staff that is working, even the janitorial staff that is working in a port of entry is supposed to be held at a higher level. So we're saying, Garth and Natasha, until we stop playing games in Trinidad and understand that some things you have to leave politics out, and in order for the test to stand the test of time for the children and grandchildren down the road, we will continue to be in this situation. What we have to get is the polygraph bill to be passed, and the opposite. Because I heard the parliamentary debate. It's still going on, and they have said, the UNC, I have not put any misinformation there, the UNC have said from get-go, I think it was one of the MPs, some Carney, I can't remember his name, because all he was saying about 10 times that he went to St. Mary's College, and they're not going to support the polygraph bill. I took away from his debate, that he went to St. Mary's College, I don't know, St. Mary's College, I don't know, where's the reason you're saying that? I don't know if by going to those schools you're pious and from sin. So Garth and Tasha, I'll just end by saying, this is what the polygraph bill is for. Thanks, Mont.
You're welcome. 622-3937. Good morning.
Good morning. My goodness. I didn't hear the program. Can you imagine that?
Oh, sorry about that.
We lost
Please
you.
try again.
I don't know, your phone just cut off like that. Sorry about that, ma'am. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Garth and Natasha.
Morning.
Morning.
I said it last time that
Pardon?
I said it last time that I don't know how the government haven't given you ambassador, not only that, but some medal of recognition for the kind of work you all are doing.
Oh.
It's also a risky work you all are doing also. I am a citizen of this country. Must thank you all so much for maintaining and keeping this program going. I don't know. I think everybody should get on board with this program and support this program.
My friend, I want to thank you so much. Yes, we know it's a risk. We know that.
Yeah, but what's something now? What I got from this story this morning is that I heard the young lady said that if you remember that the drugmen never get caught. Remember she said so?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, I keep wondering who protects these people in this country. I wonder, I know that citizens of the intelligence system know who these drugmen are. There's no doubt about it that they know who these drugmen are. right? And to pull up an operation like that in the airport is a highly organized operation. And there are a lot of big people involved in that. And I'm almost convinced that the government knows who these people are, right? Why are they protected? Who protecting them? And why are they protected? Me, if I had to break down the economy of this country, if I had to destroy the economy, I'd get them.
Somebody knows.
Well,
they know. I know they know. You know that they know too. We know that. We know these guys are, but they are being protected by I don't know by who protecting them. Right? I would have, like Denzel said, you have to get rid of the head of the snake for the snake to dead.
All right, sir. You're right. Thank you very much. Again, the views expressed by the callers are not views of Dependency or I-95.5.
Yeah.
No, we don't know. And I keep saying that our role here as an NGO is to look out and put measures in place or help put measures in place for the fallout. We cannot stop that. You could stop Angostura from selling alcohol. You can't. You can't do it. You could stop Whitco from selling tobacco. You can't. And they are both addictions. It's just that they're legal. So some people decide to sell other stuff other than alcohol and tobacco and make their money too. That's their choice. But remember, just like they have fallout from alcohol use, look at how many fights erupt. People get together by a bar, they get together by the beach, everybody come there acting normal, behaving normal. From the time alcohol is consumed, they turn into somebody else because it's a spirit. You drink a spirit, and whatever spirit manifests in you at the time, that is what will come out. Understand it? Same thing with cocaine.
God also.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
A blessed day to you all, Natasha and to Mr. God. You see, Mr., what happens to this country, it is not new. This starts from before my age. And we grew up knowing it. Everybody wants to blame one set of people. The little boys who used to sell, they come big boys in it because they take it over. And the gangs and this gang and that gang, they start fighting for two. We are everybody know what's going on in this country. But you see, when we come to talk mixed politics in it, that is the most wickedest thing we could ever do. Because we, the citizens of this country, is hurting ourselves when we mix in politics. Every single thing in this country is politics, you know. You go in the grocery, it's politics. You go in the hospital, it's politics. You go in the courthouse, it's politics. You go in the judiciary, it's any way. We have to come out of that and let taxpayers start standing up and demanding better from the people who we put there.
Yes.
And if we cannot do that and unite one another, we will never have a good country. Have a blessed and wonderful day.
Well said, sir. Well said.
Okay,
I agree with that 100%. I just want to say, just to add to what you were saying, Garth, about the sale of legal and illegal drugs. And now, in one of the clips that we played during the break, the last clip spoke about the link between the drug trade and the gun trade. We are experiencing a tremendous, unprecedented level of violence in this country as a result of guns. And we know the connection between the drug trade and the violence that accompanies it. And I think, as the last caller rightly said, the fallout of the drug trade is us, the citizens. We are the ones paying the price for this, you know. So at the end of the day, if we don't acknowledge the role that other people may be playing, or we ourselves are playing in the perpetuation of this kind of darkness, as Tony Lee likes to put it, then we spin it up in mud. And I agree 100% with the caller that we have to take responsibility for the role that we play in perpetuating, in shifting the conversation and discussion about politics when we should be talking about the real issue at hand.
Good morning, 6223937. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Garth and Natasha.
Good morning.
So, I hope you don't find me being overly sensitive. Huh? I can appreciate the context in which the presentation is made. But when we look on social media, because I was following the show on social media, my question I want to ask you is, Marsha, what is the ethnic composition of Marsha? You could tell me?
She's an African woman. What?
Okay. No, because I know this is only social media aspect of it. I don't know too many African, it's not a race thing, I'm just making a point because we know about the subliminal messages out there. And so I noticed that there was an African female face being portrayed. In my lifetime, I don't know too many Marsha'S. I know very few, and far between, who carry the name. So I was just inquiring as to whether or not the face depicted in the story, it might not have to be the face, but if it represented accurately the ethnic composition of the person who actually had the problem.
Yes, it did, sir.
It did. And so...
Obviously, it's not her image. It's not her
because
name.
Even notice,
her voice was disguised for her protection.
That's okay. That's okay. So long as we try to be able to portray it as accurately as possible, and you could represent on that, no issue at all. Just you understand where I'm coming from, God?
I'm trying, but yes, I do understand.
You do understand?
Yeah, I understand. I understand, but right. What I'm telling you is that we have had the opportunity to interview a few nationals of Trinidad and Tobago, and all of them, unfortunately, come from the same ethnic background, group, all. And when I tell you that, even right here in Jamaica, we did a series called Postcards from Yard, and all were of the same ethnic composition. So, yeah, it's sometimes the records will show that the traffickers, whether human or drug, they target certain communities, and they look for people who's vulnerable. And just like we did with Sunshine just came from CCC, and CCC was done. She was sitting on a step, and daughter's father not around. She had to take care of the child. She went to the pusher said she wanted to sell drugs. And then the pusher said, no, I could do better than that. I could send you London with some... Trini, yes. And she took the job. She got caught. So, because this is the geographical location and the areas, I'm looking for the word, that traffickers target, vulnerable communities, vulnerable people.
And also, let me add to that the interview that we did with Marsha, which again is not her real name, was meant to be an audio interview. And now that we are doing the live stream, we decided to put a face to the voice, which is why we chose images that would accurately represent the individual that we interviewed.
You understand, sir?
And I'm very happy that you took the time to drill down into it, and I must commend you for keeping the story consistent, and so there are no kinds of subliminal messages that take place, because we know that perception can easily become a reality.
Understood, sir.
Yep.
Right. Compliments to you all, and continue the good work.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
622-3937. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Gat and Natasha.
Morning.
Helter Skelter. Listen, I really enjoy your program on a Sunday morning, and you're doing a fantastic job. One of the things with this particular thing, though, for me,
we know catch.
Yes.
I say Helter Skelter, they don't call you.
He's slow, you know.
Yeah, I can't slow this morning. Sister, how you doing?
Yeah, the individual, because after, before, right, but with all these programs you always be doing, right, and people hearing it, you can't make a conscious decision. Well, you're not supposed to do that. This thing, drugs, just destroy people's life. Drugs, I don't know, for me, I can't see her doing a human being that, because that's what has happened. When you take that chance for that dollar, you're destroying somebody like if you get through and you pass. It's people like you're going to destroy.
Correct.
You know, so with the program, people listen, they're still taking that chance. I can't understand it, boy. Still taking that chance.
Yes, they're still taking
and I
the
could
chance.
talk that because, I mean, I've seen it in my neighborhood. I've seen and a family, a PC family destroyed by drugs too. You know, so it's, I hope, you know, you continue and I don't know if it will get to the brain sometime. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't take the chance.
It's not worth it.
Yep.
It is
Yeah,
not
man. So
worth
you
it.
continue with the good work. Have
Thank
a
you.
blessed Sunday.
Thank you, sister.
Thank
You
you.
too. Thanks
Yeah,
for calling. Yes, it's unfortunate that some people tend to think that that's an. I'm not doing
That's an
that.
option.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm
up to
not.
the other day, we heard from another mother, you know, crying about
Yeah.
her daughter who ended up in this very position, you know.
I
Took a chance and accepted an opportunity to carry drugs in another country.
Some are coerced, some know what they're doing, some don't know what they're doing, some get caught up.
So this
You know,
is-
some are used as the diversion. They have all types of tactics that they use to get drugs to other borders, and you're trafficking the person. So understand, this is the act, the means, and the purpose. This is one part of it, and we have more to come, lots more. Hello, good morning.
Yep.
Morning, Knob.
Morning.
Morning, Natasha.
Morning.
Hey, morning, Mr. Filbert.
Yeah,
I really
good.
feel this morning.
Trying to guys the voice here. Yeah, I call in because of a contribution I heard a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people believe that perhaps, let's say, the Minister of National Security and some other minister, and perhaps the Prime Minister, whoever that person is, not necessarily in this regime, ought to get up and go and hold these drug dealers and like you said, they know who they are, they're protecting them. Guys,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. I think you know my type.
Yes.
And I do not, I am contrary to the belief, I do not think that these people are difficult to put away, because that has been done with great success.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're still waiting for you to come and tell us the story about how you put away Dulce.
you know my situation with that. I just put so wrong it this morning because of what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that all of these people who sell drugs, all of them could be put away. You don't have to necessarily put away for selling drugs. They do a lot of different things. They're involved in all kinds of stuff. And those of us who were trained abroad know the story about that. The training is that you need to know that. They do everything like you do. They have concerns like you have. And they get involved in, they sell drugs, but they get involved in a whole number of other illegal stuff. To be able to do that. And if you follow them correctly, if you do what you have to do, you're going to take them out. And at the time when we support that particular gang, there were two areas in the police service competing for them. Real competition. Who will get them first? It was narcotics and it was homicide.
Right.
And homicide succeeded, and we never spoke to each other. We were bitter of opposing sides, you know, as if to say we were in different places. And when it was done, everybody get together and hurry up.
Right.
And accepted that we succeeded. And this thing about, you know, you have to listen to big people saying the government know who they are and protecting them and all this kind of stuff. It is for the authorities, the same police officers, if that is so, to deal with all who protecting who, because there are laws that talk about the thing. And, you know, I think it is just not fair without the proper information, proper understanding to make those kinds of comments.
That kind of comment. Yeah, that's why we distance ourselves from it.
Illegality and crime is in our society. And, you know, but I look towards where the particular authority could do it. It can be done, sir. It can be done.
Yes.
It has been done before. There's a template. as to how this thing could be done, and it should be done.
But why isn't it being done, sir? Why
Well,
do you think it's not being done?
Well, I was just about, let me.
I think it's not being done because the proper attention is not being given to it, and there are a number of challenges. There are perhaps integrity challenges and a number of other things.
Mr. Philbert.
I'm telling you from experience, if we did not have and possess the quality of officers that we had, we may not have gotten through at all. But it could be done, and people need to inspire people. There are people there who I know could do it, and they ought to be encouraged. They ought to be given the run to do it. It's a different time now. There are more risks, but that does not say that you're going to lose that war at all. You need to get engaged. It's a war. It's not about words. It's action.
Right. I'm glad, Mr. Philbert, I'm glad you said that. And if you use the...
You asked me a very pertinent question that needs a good answer. But I wouldn't... The answer that you need is not the answer. It's not what I want to say exactly today, because I may be saying something as well. Believing... my thoughts might be different to yours. But I just want to tell you that I know that the police service and the other entities have the capability to do it. They do have to do it. I meet and speak to people from time to time, and I know they should do it. Perhaps it's some aspect of spots of leadership, and it needs a lot of strength to do it, but it could be done. And if you understand what you're fighting, you have to have your arsenal way above what they have to beat them. And on the way to beating them, there are a whole number of casualties that you have to encounter and take them down. That's what we did.
Mr. Philbert, I want to thank you very much, sir, for your time. Thank you so much for your intervention.
All right.
And we're still waiting on that story. Thank you. All right. Because Mr. Philbert was spearheading that crew that took down the Old Shady.
Yes.
And but I before you read that, you wanted to say that?
I just wanted to respond to this, to one of the questions Gloria asked. Are there instances of persons over age 50 and more being charged as drug mules? And Gloria, yes. We interviewed a mother and a daughter. Mother was a retired woman who were arrested and charged in same England for carrying drugs in their possession, which was given to them by a family member.
Another different type of act, means and purpose. We're gonna bring that story for you too as well.
Yes.
We want you to hear it. Yes. Morning.
Good morning, Gus and Natasha.
Morning.
Good morning.
This is Anne.
Morning, Anne.
Hi, how you do?
Natasha or Gus, I need you all to call me. I want help in something that I count important.
Yes.
And it could also be used on your program too, after we get to the root of it.
All right, Anne.
I don't want to talk about it now because of the urgency of it.
Okay.
All right.
So,
We'll call you.
Call me after. I don't know if police have a number
Yes.
or only want me to give you.
No, we still have it.
All right. Call me and I want to tell you about it, Kat, and let you tell me what to do.
All right.
Okay. Thanks very much.
No, I was about to say, you're welcome. I was about to say, Trinidad and Tobago and the world by extension. Let me tell you all this, right? There's no government right now on the face of this earth, apart from the one where Duterte was in charge of.
Philippines?
And in Peru, what they did, they made a drastic move. They locked up every gang leader who they could kill. They killed who. That's how they choose to deal with it. They're not playing. They have a clean place. If somebody using marijuana there, they really have to do that on the low because they really cleaned up. However, there's no government or prison establishment can stop contraband, can stop drug use. This is a thing. Horse racing is a thing. Alcohol consumption is a thing. Tobacco smoking is a thing. These are legal forms of gambling and satisfying one's habit. It's the same way that the illegal drugs, there is a market for it, and there is nothing any government can do to stop it. trust me when I mean, after 22 years, we should understand this, of doing our independency. After 22 years, I was telling you this, after all the research that we've done, I can tell you, that's why we said we congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs. Because when they try to corner cocaine and marijuana, there are some people who came up with meth, molly, crystal, the fentanyl, LSD, ecstasy, you name it. There's a whole long list. Even cough syrup now when you jump in the brew. So there is nothing, and I tell you again, once there's an addictive population, once there's a demand, there will be a supply. Remember, these things pass on from generation to generation as well. So alcoholics will produce more alcoholics. And so people like Angostura and Bitco and all of them will continue to make money because they understand. They have rooms with people in lab coats and stethoscope and all these things.
Yes. God, you remember you were watching
Don't
something. We were watching this HBO series, The Wire, last night. There was a scene where this group of drug dealers, young people, came upon a drug addict who was trying to scam them or presented them with fake money. And the outcome of that was the drug addict ending up in hospital in intensive care. Why? Because they felt they're selling a product, but you can't. You are the customer, but you can't try to swindle us. So we're gonna show you how we just do things. But the point that one of the characters made afterwards was that yes, okay, we're selling drugs, yes, but do we have to employ violence along with it? Do we really need to almost kill somebody because they try to short us of some money for the drugs? So, I mean, there's a level of consciousness on the part of that character, yes. But at the same time, if we're looking at it as regular citizens and wondering, really and truly, yeah, human beings will use drugs. But do we really need to employ violent tactics, and not just physical violence, because we have experienced other forms of violence as well? Is that really necessary to go along with the trade?
Let's take our last call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Captain Natasha.
Morning.
Good program as usual.
Thank you, sir.
It's a fact that politics affects our lives. But politics, the implementation of policies to govern a country, have nothing to do with money-hungry people tying up gullible, naive people to transport their drugs for them. It's a whole vampire system where they use wickedness to tell people. Mr. Philbert is so correct. We could get at those so-called big boys, but Trinidad is not an easy country. In America, when they want you, they go for it. Like Al Capone and how they're going after Trump now. But in Trinidad, if that happens, human rights violations, this, that, all kind of...
I think America is a good example here, but...
we have to go now.
We program once more.
Yeah.
And we have to expose all these wicked drugs people.
Thanks, sir. Thanks. All right, folks, that's where we have to leave it. You've been listening to Dependency. Remember, you can go back to our Facebook page or YouTube channel to get the start of the program if you missed. Take care. Have a good week. Major News up next with Onika James.
Good afternoon.
Broadcasting from Port of Spain, Trinidad, this is the most influential